Hello, and welcome to the Steve and Mark Discuss podcast, where my associate here, Steve, mentions a subject, talks about it for a few minutes, and I will respond, and he may choose to respond to my responses, and I may respond to his responses. Anyway, over to Steve.
Hi, people. Not been going too well for Boeing recently. John Barnett, he worked for Boeing for 32 years and he retired in 2017. And he became a whistleblower against the company after he witnessed several security breaches during the construction of the planes and the maintenance. For example, they use second-hand parts, and what they knew were faulty oxygen canisters, which would have deployed in an emergency. When your mask comes down, because the cabin, 25% of them don't work. And they've got the substandard parts were taken out from the rubbish bins and used just to keep the production going. 2 weeks ago, Boeing airplane suffered gear problems and slid off the runway. Another lost a wheel on takeoff. I don't know if you saw that one. From San Francisco. In January, the famous flying door. Another incident more recently was part of a wing that came off when they were flying and they had to do an emergency landing. And a very recent one was the complete shutdown of an aeroplane, which left it plunging for several thousand feet, where passengers were saying 50 people were injured on that one. And one passenger said that he saw the guy from across the aisle stuck to the ceiling, staring down at him. He said it looked like something out of The Exorcist because he was stuck on the ceiling and then he came back to the floor. And,
probably some people have quite a deeper religious experience.
We're laughing about it, but the poor people on the aeroplane. I bet there was some underwear changed when they landed. I can tell you.
People become very religious, as I said, at that point as well. Sometimes.
This Monday passed. An airplane took off and the fuel was leaking from the underside of the airplane, so they had to bring the airplane back. All of these are Boeing airplanes, and we have to mention that in October 2018, a Boeing 737 crashed, killing 189 people. In March the following year, another 737 crashed in Ethiopia, killing all 157 people on board. So, what happened to John Barnett? He's dead, by the way. John Barnett is dead. Apparently, he committed suicide. He was set to just end his witness testimony at the courts, where he was being the whistleblower. He'd already done like 80% of the denouncing, which he said about the replacement of the parts and all that. And it was just to finish off. And he was found dead in his car. Oh dear. Apparently, the police were really fast to say it was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. And but his solicitors said that he was of sound mind. He was looking forward to finishing off his testimony, so that he can put that part of his life behind him, so he can carry on. He said didn't have any worries, didn't have any wasn't under any stress, didn't have
Yeah.
anybody persecuting him or
Mhm.
anything. So, he wasn't under any stress. The police are continuing their investigations, but
Yeah.
when you have a guy who's involved in this whistleblower testimony,
Mhm.
and he's found with a gun with his finger on the trigger and a suicide note at the side of him, that in itself becomes very suspicious.
Mm.
Because it's almost too perfect of a suicide to be a suicide, if that
Yeah.
makes any sense to you.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like the mafia, they're sending a warning. It's not kind of,
There you,
yeah.
there,
Well,
there you are. There you are.
yeah, I'm
So
not
anyway,
suggesting, yeah, yeah,
well, there's a guy called Steve Bannon on the
yeah,
internet. He says,
yeah.
there's no such thing as conspiracy theories,
Mm.
but
Well,
coincidences, just
yeah,
coincidences. And
yeah.
this is an interesting coincidence. So over
Yeah,
to you for that one.
well, I mean,
You already
speaking,
said the first part about the mafia. Surprise, surprise.
yeah, well, it's a, how can I put it? Right, okay, engineering, okay, make do amend. Okay, I come from an industry where that did happen quite a lot. And you can do things like this, inverted commas, safely sometimes. Yeah, it shouldn't happen. It does sometimes. That the limits you can push with. Okay. Um, as to guard safety equipment, well, safety equipment is something you hope you never have to use. Maybe somebody's done the mathematics on it. I come from an industry where they worked out if there was a major incident, they do actually do work out the cost of maintenance against what's happened if there was actually a major incident. Believe me, I've seen it where they've worked out it's better if there's a major incident that might not happen. Yeah. It's quite frightening when you read these things. Human life at that point doesn't matter. I'm not suggesting it happens at this point. I know this kind of risk assessment goes on. What's the worst thing could happen, and what would be the possible loss of human life? It might be cheaper to pay out on that and take that on the chin rather than put a lot of money into maintenance. I'm not saying that's right. It goes on. It's also yeah, I mean, you've got to try and mitigate this. Okay, this guy's testimony, hopefully it's all backed up somewhere with documentation. We shall see. There's got to be a thorough investigation. The fact it made it to court means somebody thinks they've got something somewhere. Yeah, I mean, obviously, Boeing are having a very, very bad run of things at the moment. Embarrassingly bad. One of the most major
Well,
corporations in the world.
Funnily enough, the internet, the net man, is blaming all this on the DEI, because Boeing, or rather, Boeing, the FAA, which is the sort of aeronautics federation, and American Airlines have all gone deeply woke and are into this DEI. And since they've done that, spare parts or unspare parts have been flying off the aeroplanes. There was the other. I forgot to mention that the other aeroplane where the wheel fell off.
Yeah.
Takeoff. It damaged some cars in the car park.
Well,
luckily nobody was underneath the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with people who would fall under the woke, not the woke banner themselves, but are very competent people who,
yes, of course. No, that's not what I'm. That's you're missing the point there.
To go out,
because where you get one, you work with some people that are very competent, but the stood at the side of them could be an absolute dolt.
Yeah, well, they're normally some people that first come out because they don't want it. I mean, there was a time, when I mean, nepotism.
Once again, I'm sorry, Mark, but once again, the companies don't sack these people, the idiots, because they would lose their the directors lose their bonus of keeping everything, you know.
The eyes, yeah, effectively, yeah. I understand. I know what you're saying. Yes, it is a case of, well, as we always say, suitability, or the best person for the job, or the best available person for the job. Sometimes there isn't anyone available. Do you fill the hole, so to speak, with that point then with anyone, or do you say that's it, or bring in outside support? Yeah, something has gone very, very wrong at Boeing. I mean, Boeing was the hallmark of quality. I mean, we've got in Brazil, we've got one of their main rivals here. That's I think people are trying to. I think foreign multinationals are trying to buy that out. Yeah, it's.
Well, you know which one I'll be flying on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, any life is a risk. Okay. I mean, there was the old thing: the safest form of transport is flying. The amount of people moving against the incident, because it was such a highly regulated, safe environment. Triple
as long as you're not on a Boeing.
Well, I mean, on airplanes. I mean, when you're talking about flying and all that, it's triple redundancy systems. Everything's tripled up. All the security, safety systems, and everything else. I mean, a physical door flying off, that just should not happen. I mean, in any walk of life, if that happened on a train,
John Barnett, he was promoted to be part of a committee that inspected the safety aspects of the aeroplane being built, and just the front part, from the nose to just behind the pilot's window, he was inspecting, and out of 97 safety aspects, 33 of them were at fault. 33, that's a third of all safety protocols were wrong. When he complained to his bosses about that, this is when he was still working there, he was taken off for that, and they put some other people in, and they only found something like 17, and they were celebrating. Boeing was celebrating because these people only found 17.
Yeah.
So the standards, either the standards have gone down, or, well, I'll let you fill in the missing blanks.
Well, yeah, I know. I've been in a similar situation where I was told I was over keen on a job once, where I found so many faults on it and everything else, and reported it. I got taken off the job. Just was about to leave the company. They wanted me to sign off of things, and I just blankly refused. Yeah, so I mean, this is not new, this whole thing, but admittedly, what I was doing was more quality issues finished rather than actual safety implications. When it's safety implications, that's when the you really got to be on top of it. And I mean, it's bury your head in the sand, it is frightening. I mean, the idea, I mean, yes, we moan about health and safety in our industry and everything else, but you get a good health and safety guy on the job whom everyone is scared of. It does push the standards up. Yeah, I mean, I hate quality engineers, and I teach some now, so I joke about it. And I also hated health and safety. But these people are required to actually keep standards up. And if you want to keep standards up, let's keep something good. You go at a higher level, then you pull things up to where they should be and maintain it there. I mean, that's it. And these people, for whatever reason, the world's collapsing around on this, and we know it's happening. Nobody can deny it. I mean, they can tell us how many fingers to put up. I'm still seeing four fingers going. I'm seeing 2 fingers go up, sometimes 1, to be quite honest, and people that are calling it all out.